Shalom, family. It's good to see you all here. I hope you're doing well. I don't know if y'all heard. New York City got hit with a flash flood. The city is underwater. I mean, every part of the city, it is underwater. So I'm going to be showing you that at 7:45. They said the flooding happened in 30 minutes. That's how fast the rain was coming down. 30 minutes. And it went underwater. So I hope you can come back at 7:45 for that live stream. So let's talk about a judge's ruling. Now, according to what I read, they have $6 billion in emergency funding set aside. And the judge ruled that Donald Trump must release that $6 billion to fund SNAP. In fact, he is called back to the courts on Monday to make sure he did it. So this is a judge out of Rhode Island, a federal judge, said that Donald Trump have to fund SNAP. And I'm sure he's not happy about it, but Donald Trump, you could have given us reparations. If y'all got money stashed away like that, you surely you got our reparations money stashed somewhere too. So anyway, look like these folks will get their SNAP money. Now, I read also in other articles it may be a partial funding. So I'm not sure, but they should be able to get some type of funding as of November 1st, ordered by a federal judge. But y'all, trust me when I tell you this is temporary. Donald Trump is going to find a way to shut SNAP all the way down because, this is in Project 2025. If you think he's going to just back away because of this ruling, no, what he'll do is get it in front of a judge that is very pro Trump or Trump appointed, and he will get it through that way. And that's also in Project 2025 is to shut down the federal courts in this country. So look at this as a temporary funding. We'll see what happens when December gets here if he tries to pull this again. But you make no mistake, Donald Trump don't like to lose. So he will do whatever he can to get this whole thing shut down through some kind of judge that favors him. You watch. This is going to come up again. It's definitely coming again. Okay, so let me share my screen so we can get started. Okay, please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Thank you.
It looks like SNAP is back, at least for now. And once again, it's a federal judge stepping in to force the Trump administration to release those contingency funds in order to fund SNAP. There's also something else going on right now. You have a Republican Senator, Josh Hawley, introducing a bill to keep SNAP funded through the government shutdown. So, two things: contingency funding forced by a judge. And also, you have this bill by Josh Hawley that other Republicans are backing, along with some Democrats.
This is breaking legal news. A federal judge in Rhode Island has ordered the Trump administration to stop withholding the roughly $6 billion in emergency SNAP funding and issue that money to help feed Americans. And the judge has ordered Trump to report back on Monday to show that he has actually complied with this order. So it's a developing situation. This is a temporary restraining order as the case proceeds. But if you want to stay in the loop, you can follow for more.
Hey, everybody. Well, welcome to the neighborhood. Let's get into it and talk about SNAP benefits for 42 million Americans and what a judge just handed down to the Trump administration. Okay, so two federal judges today have ruled that supplemental nutrition assistance programs serving about 42 million Americans cannot be cut off as part of the shutdown mess. How about that? Court documents ordered the U.S. Department of Agriculture to tap into its contingency reserve, about $5 to $6 billion, and ensure November benefits are issued without interruption. Now, these injunctions came before USDA could suspend benefit payments. The move was declared likely unlawful under the Food and Nutrition Act, which guarantees payments to eligible households. Immediately relief for millions is what we need to be concerned with. Roughly 1 in 8 Americans rely on SNAP. Okay, halting payments, even for a single month, would have knocked complete households, retailers, and state agencies off kilter. Okay, remember we did a whole talk about this and how this isn't just about SNAP benefits and people receiving it. It's the stores, it's the corner stores. That's the only place to get food in communities. It's the employees, it's the truckers, it's the wholesalers. It's an entire ecosystem, right? And so without those SNAP benefits going out, it knocks all of that off. It's a legal precedent. Here's the next thing. The ruling reinforces that the administration cannot unilaterally cut aid mandated under federal law, even in a shutdown. Budget pressure is ahead. While this win keeps November payments safe, the contingency fund is not going to cover weeks or months of payments without congressional action. Okay, so this is just a Band-Aid, folks. That's it. So the court's keep going clock is absolutely ticking. Now, here's something else. For states, more than 24 attorney generals and governors had sued, calling USDA's threatening halt illegal withholding of benefits. These allies now have the courts on their side. Now, low-income families were definitely going to feel it. This moment means food security stress has been delayed for now, perhaps avoided, giving families breathing room to get through the shutdown. Now, for the administration, here's the thing. USDA must now decide whether to fully use the contingency fund, scale back payouts, or seek a settlement. They've signaled that withdrawing the full pot nationwide could be disastrous. Now, for those of you all who are the people in the neighborhood of Brownstone Worldwide, we're going to continue to keep watching this for you guys and how states are actually implementing payments in the coming days, what they're going to be doing, how some states are already setting up those contingency plans, and how people in particular neighborhoods around the nation are literally setting up food banks and other things to prepare for this. So here's the thing. The bottom line is the court has forced the federal government's hand for now. SNAP benefits remain live for November, and many Americans just got a little bit of a lifeline just for a little while, y'all. But the war is not over, and I need you all to understand that, okay? The reason why I say that is the contingency fund is only going to buy time. That's it. What happens next depends on political action and government follow through. Listen, let me tell y'all something. Keep your head on a swivel. When you do get your benefits this month coming up in November, do something with them. Get you some stuff and put it aside if you need to. We all know how to do this. We've had to do it. So what I will say to you is, for more news and information that you can always use, head over to brownstoneworldwide.com, Cityscape Radio, and you guessed it, Brownstone Living Magazine. We'll see you around.
It's so bizarre here in this wealthiest country in the world. We have enough food, we have enough money, we have enough programs to end childhood hunger and to use feeding kids as a weapon, going back and forth doesn't make any sense.
And we were waiting to see how federal courts would rule today on the Trump administration deciding to not be funding the SNAP program on November 1st. We now actually have 2 different judges making 2 different rulings. Let's start with the one in Rhode Island. That judge basically ruled from the bench, telling the U.S. government that they need to find funding for that SNAP program. They mentioned the contingency fund. This is the one that Brooke Rollins, Ag Secretary, just told us a little bit ago they couldn't use. Now a federal judge is saying you need to go ahead and use that. A Massachusetts judge, on the other hand, also seems to be leaning leaning in the direction that the government will need to provide SNAP benefits somehow, that they cannot cut off the program. But they're saying that they need the White House to actually put in writing that they plan to not continue to fund that program, or that they're not planning on finding a backup source of funding. So two different judges there, kind of in the same vein, though. It sounds like the overall takeaway from this is that the courts are telling the Trump administration that they are going to have to find a way to get funds into the SNAP program, and they're not just going to be able to end it tomorrow, as was feared.
We have some stunning breaking news this hour. A federal judge just dealt an embarrassing blow to Trump and the Trump administration, forcing the administration to continue issuing the budget for SNAP to make sure that Americans are fed through November. There are funds already allocated from Congress for this, but the Trump administration has refused to use those funds to feed Americans. It's insane that the president of the United States has to be forced and told he must feed Americans who are working paycheck to paycheck, who depend on these benefits to survive. But here we are, and this is what's happening. A new restraining order has been issued. Donald Trump must immediately force his administration to start resuming SNAP benefits. This will go through November. We'll see how this lasts and whether the government reopens by the end of the month. We'll see if Donald Trump even listens to this order, because we've seen he has no regard for the law of the land. But this is good news for the United States of America, embarrassing news for Trump, because he's caught looking like the president that doesn't want Americans to be fed. That's what he is.
Breaking news about SNAP benefits. A federal judge just blocked the Trump administration from suspending SNAP benefits during the shutdown. This is a temporary restraining order, which is the legal term. So the government is required to keep paying out food aid using contingency funds, even if normal appropriations aren't available. The judge said cutting SNAP during the shutdown is unlawful. The USDA has to use the $5 billion emergency reserve, and if that's not enough, they must find another way to pay. They must report back to the court by Monday with how they plan to get benefits out. Judges made it clear the shutdown does not end SNAP, and harming families who rely on food aid is not allowed. Cutting off food aid would cause irreparable damage, period. The Food Bucks Now program will only start on November 3rd if something happens between now and then and they don't pay SNAP. Just a heads up. Have a beautiful day.
Okay, update. SNAP benefits are being saved temporarily. A judge that was appointed by Barack Obama has blocked the Trump administration from not funding SNAP benefits. He has over $1 billion in a contingency fund that he could have used a long time ago to be able to fund benefits. But the bottom line is, it's saved temporarily by Barack Obama's appointed judge. Now take.
Okay, listen, we just got a huge win for millions of families. A federal judge in Rhode Island has temporarily blocked Trump from being able to block using SNAP benefits during the shutdown. The judge ruled that cutting off food benefits would cause irreparable harm to Americans. This is including children, disabled adults, seniors, working families. The government has been ordered to use its contingency funds to cover SNAP benefits while this is currently going on. And by this, I mean the shutdown, obviously. Now, is this a final decision? No, not yet. This is a temporary block. But as of now, people will actually be able to get their goddamn groceries. Now, they might try to appeal the ruling. I am very curious to see if they actually do this, because this is just setting up the stage to state, hey, yeah, we lied to you, and by the way, we want to make sure that families do not get fed. We'll see what happens. I'm going to keep an eye on this, see if they actually listen to the judge's orders, and I will keep you guys updated as more information comes out. Long story short, this is still awesome news, guys. Happy Friday.
Massive breaking news. You know it has to be massive because 1, I'm out, 2, no hat, and 3, federal U.S. judge just ruled that Donald Trump and the Trump administration has to actually release those federal funds for those people with SNAP benefits. As John McConnell out of Rhode Island just deemed that Donald Trump not only needs to actually continue to pay those SNAP benefits for those 42 million Americans that need it, he said that they need to actually release them as soon as possible. There's some states that actually do it a couple of days early, like Nebraska, and they had already stopped sending out those funds. This ruling has come down. The Justice Department has not indicated yet whether they plan on appealing this ruling or not, and the White House has not put out any type of statements about what they plan on doing. This is where it gets super interesting because either Donald Trump is going to have to send out that fund to those 42 million Americans that need it for food assistance, or he's going to have to admit that him and his administration are just a bunch of pieces of shit, and they're going to say no, that people that need food can't get food. Either way, buckle up. Last but not least, if you actually stay to the end of this video, I just want to let you know I'm out for lunch trying to get tamales, and there's no tamales, so Tamale Gate continues.
Federal judge rules the administration's attempt to suspend SNAP is unlawful. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kira Phillips. 42 million Americans are at risk of going hungry in less than 24 hours because federal funding for SNAP benefits will stop due to the ongoing government shutdown. But now a judge in Boston says the administration needs to at least authorize reduced SNAP funding by Monday. Washington managing editor Catherine Falders and transportation reporter Sam Sweeney join me now for more. So, Catherine, what more do we know about the judge's ruling?
Well, we know that this federal judge here in Rhode Island has essentially said the Trump administration is required to pay out those benefits that were going to run dry at midnight for 42 million Americans. Roughly 1 in 8 Americans rely on this food assistance through SNAP. And this judge in Rhode Island said that they actually have to pay those out. Now, it's unclear at this point, at least from what the judge said orally during this emergency hearing, when that money might actually reach those 42 million Americans who obviously are going to need that money starting tomorrow when they are supposed to get that money. We've asked the White House for comment. I know we've asked the Department of Justice for comment on whether the administration intends to appeal this ruling from this judge in Rhode Island. I would assume that they would, given this is what they would typically do as it relates to these cases, but we still haven't heard any comment from the White House or DOJ on this yet.
Okay, so how is the president reacting, Catherine?
It's a good question, Kira. I know you earlier played out that gaggle when the president landed there in Florida, and this ruling from the judge came literally right after he walked away from cameras. So he hasn't said anything specifically on this ruling from this judge in Rhode Island. He did speak briefly on the tarmac down there in Florida about SNAP and the government shutdown, blamed it on the Democrats, said he would be willing to meet with Democrats, but only once the government opened up. But bottom line is we haven't heard a response from the administration or the president on this ruling yet.
All right. So look like, the SNAP recipients got a little wiggle room right now, but you can best believe, yeah, I do agree. He'll go to a higher court to overrule this federal judge. He's done it since he's been in office. Every time a ruling don't go in his favor, he just puts it in either in front of the Supreme Court or he'll go to a different judge to get what he wants. So all I can say is when you get your benefits, if you can put as much food away and stash it somewhere to get you through possibly another month, do so. I know in our case, they don't give us that much. They give our people a few $100s. They give white people thousands of dollars of SNAP money. If we didn't learn nothing, that's what we did learn. But if you can put food aside, try to do it. That's all I got to say, because this ain't going away. It will come up again. It will come up again because this man is determined. He doesn't care who's starving in this country. When did Donald Trump ever care about that? He has never cared about that. And he never will. So they give, for our people, I'm glad you'll be able to get food for your family. But just understand this ain't going away. It will definitely come up again. Mhm. But he'll make sure he gets his Big Mac every day, though. Wow. So, y'all, I hope you can come back at 7:45 because you gotta see what New York City looks like, and the flood is pretty widespread in New York. And I have never seen this happen in New York City, but yeah, they said they got a lot of rain in a short period of time, and that's usually how these floodings are occurring, especially up here in the Northeast. It's less than an hour and everybody's flooded. So it's crazy. And this is the kind of year we've had. And this right now, you saw what happened in the Caribbean islands and still going on because Bermuda just not Bermuda, Bahamas just got hit. And now New York City. Oh, what's next? I mean, it's been a lot of natural disasters in and around the United States. It's been exceptionally bad this year. So, everybody, I will see you then. And again, thank you. I want to thank Dark Skin Brother for your super sticker, for gifting 10 memberships. Thank you for that. And thank you for the $50 super chat after the videos I've been seeing of people talking about stealing food and snatching other people's food they paid for. It looks like somebody had enough sense to block Trump from taking food of yeah, I know what you mean, of off of people's tables. Yeah, and, and the thing is, many of these people have children. A lot of children are on SNAP, and also elderly people. So everybody is not out here cheating the system. Are there some? But you know what? Every time I know here in my state, every time people are busted for welfare fraud, it's white people. It is. It's really not our people that much, but white people, they always getting busted for welfare fraud. Thank you again for your super chat. This is definitely the work of the Most High looking out on a few brothers and sisters that do depend on EBT to put food on the table. We already know white people are the most on this. Was for the few of my brothers and sisters that depend on EBT. All praises to the Most High. Yeah, yeah, and they always will be the biggest ones on it. They always will be. They've been on it. Remember, they've been on it since 1939, and they were on it by themselves for several decades before our people started going on there. So, y'all, I will see you at 7:45 at my next live. Shalom, family.